James Melendez. This is an overview of Google Forms. Stay tuned. Please give a like and subscribe to this channel. So this is a simple form application within your Google Suite. This is great for organizations that really can't or won't be able to subscribe to a more expensive survey platform. This is for data collection, for creating a form, event management, polls, surveys, and so forth. So there's things here that I think are important to know. I'll call out certain functions, and there are limitations to this as well. So it is part of your Google Suite, and there's something that I think it's important to go through this video and to make sure you understand all that you need to do to execute. And so I'm going to give you this walkthrough and also some cautionary notes that I think are really important to know. So we're going to go through the application, some of the questions you can do, as well as important settings to look at. So perhaps this is an invite by Delta Fortran for its employee base for the annual summit that occurs every year in August. So what I'm trying to show you here is the things you can do on this and all the available questions you can ask. This is not going to be as, say, expansive as, say, SurveyMonkey. Now you're going to see here, I'm going to go through the bar here. You can add another question. You can also import questions. There's also title, description, add an image, add a video, and add sections. So you can do that here. And you can also pull these really easily with the waffle here. So just go ahead and move that around if you want to. And so that's a very simple way of doing that. When did the people join this organization? I'll just move this down because I think that's probably a logical place for that. Can you describe when you joined the organization? So that's a paragraph. That's very simple to do. So also, what time zone are they based in? And that's a drop down because you have to select one, not all. And then you can also select other items here. So you want multiple choice grids, you can set that up as well. It's pretty simple, and you're going to see the output of what this looks like to somebody who might receive this. And then you also see checkboxes. So this is great for somebody who wants to select more than one. They can select 2 or 3. Perhaps you want a response in terms of core competencies for each of your employees, and they can select more than one. You can get a linear scale. And so here I'm asking about Apex coding capabilities. And then what are your areas of interest in your next role at this organization? And then this is really, really important. So you have no reCAPTCHA capabilities with this. There are some add-ons which I've not tested, and so I won't recommend any in this video. I put a short answer here with what the person needs to type in for the question. There's no validation, unfortunately. A bot will most likely stop and hopefully not be able to input that information. And so that's listed as a required. So that's a very big call out there. We're going to go to settings next. So in addition to a form or survey, you can make this into a quiz. If you're doing a survey, engagement survey at your organization, you might want to put do not collect. In addition to that, you want to limit to one response, especially for anything you might want to do with anybody who gets this. Now, that's really important because that's where the bots come into play. I always make sure this is turned on. So I always put on the progress bar, especially if I'm asking a lot of questions for the respondent. So making sure that's on. So those are the things that I make sure that I do. So again, be cognizant and aware of where you're sharing this particular form. And because there is no native reCAPTCHA, you want to make sure that you have this protected as much as possible, and also account for anything that might come your way in terms of the responses you do get. So be very aware of that. And I haven't had any issues with that necessarily. It's when I haven't protected that an issue will always come into play. There's many bots out there, and they definitely find these forms. Now here is a form that I sent off to someone. This is what they see. You can change the colors on the background here if you want, add a photo, and move that forward. So you see everything on the form, and name and describe when you join the organization. Here is a specific time zone, so you can only select one. That's how that works. Here's another way of having a multiple checklist to select several items. The particular scale to have people respond to this. Also, here's something, maybe you want several responses in several categories, and that's how they can do that. If you send this event invite out and it's outside your organization, perhaps you're inviting vendors to come in, then it's only if they have a Google account that they can actually complete this form. because it's limited to one response. How Google does this is that you have to be signed into Google. So that's something to be aware of. This is probably the best way to cut down on bot responses. But again, you have to be in the Google ecosystem. So that is one side that I don't like about this particular application. So in addition to the short answer, I definitely want to make sure that the settings reflect one response only. Here's concluding my review of Google Forms. There are many fewer pluses than minuses. We'll go through these right now. It's relatively easy to use, part of Google Suite, and it's really cool to capture that in a link to Google Sheets. On the minus side, now it's too basic of a look. I don't think this has evolved in maybe a generation or so. It lacks a native reCAPTCHA, potential for bot response, and requiring potential respondents to having to log in. And so if you're trying to do something that's an anonymous survey, but you require people to log in, there's a sense that it's not truly an anonymous survey. So that's one of the negatives for this particular approach. So if you want a larger sample, you may need another site in order to accomplish this. And there's no ready-to-use survey templates. In summary, while it's a very simple and easy-to-use survey tool, Google Forms is way too basic. It also lacks a native capability of reCAPTCHA and potentially limits your respondents and number of responses you'll get. And this is really related to a strong limitation of either requiring your survey respondents to be a Google user or open up to any user with an extremely high exposure to bots. This product does need to evolve. Do I want to use it? Not necessarily. I think it's one that has a lot of limitations, many more limitations, and it definitely looks dated. And this is something I think needs to be updated. I'm surprised Google Forms product management has not really pushed for a greater evolution of this tool. I think ultimately I'd rather use another tool than using Google Forms. Now this is an 80-point review out of 100 points. This is 10 points below a minimal acceptance score of 90 points. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more reviews. James Melendez, James the Tech Guy.